Your YouTube analytics are probably lying to you. If you're stuck on low views on your YouTube channel, I want you to forget everything that you think you know about the YouTube algorithm and YouTube analytics, so I can show you how to identify which of these 5 mistakes that you're making and how to fix them. These are lessons that I learned the hard way over the last 5 years whilst growing channels like Little Peach, Chenemy, and a bunch of others. The first mistake you're making is you're missing YouTube's green flags. When you first start posting on YouTube, don't look at the overall video analytics, which gives you average view duration and click-through rate. This is useless information because it's not granular enough for you to interpret anything specific. I'm going to show you a much better way of analyzing this data. As an example, this is a thought piece video I made about the current state of YouTube, which I thought would appeal to 2 audiences. 1, people who post up videos on YouTube, and 2, people who are curious and use YouTube a lot. This meant the video had viral potential outside the niche of YouTube strategy. So how do we find YouTube's green flags? First, navigate to reach and then down to content suggesting this video. Now, if you have a lot of data here, you're going to want to export this into Excel because it'll be really overwhelming otherwise. And when you're in Excel, you can filter this by most impressions, and in a new column you want to start categorizing what niche and approximate audience you think this is. Don't do it for every line because that'll take way too long, just quickly eyeball the top 10 or 20. Put this into a new table and filter by average view duration. Then this will reveal to you which suggested video niches and demographics are producing the best viewer metrics for your videos. As you can see from my example, there are certain videos such as why TED Talk sucks now and why the Guinness World Record sucks now, which got really good average view duration. Here's the crucial part. When you identify the other types of videos producing the best viewer metrics on your videos, you should pivot into this content type more, because YouTube is giving you a signal that this content is good enough for that audience, and YouTube is likely to promote your videos to that audience again in the future. Now, here is where you might have gone wrong. Let's say you didn't spot this green flag and you kept making videos about whatever you wanted. Now, what happens is your future videos are going to be promoted by the same suggested videos as the one that previously generated good metrics, as you can see by this video that I have here about mistakes YouTubers make before they upload, and this other video of which I have about how I spent $200,000 on YouTube automation. This is a major issue for your channel's performance, because the video's topic is not relevant to the suggested video trying to promote it. As you can see, the Why TED Talks Sucks Now video has a bunch of awful impressions and a terrible click-through rate and poor average view duration, which ruins the viewer data for my new video. It also confuses YouTube, because now it doesn't know who to recommend my videos to. This will massively constrain growth on your channel as every video gets poor initial viewer data. As you can see from this video here, where I'm getting initial impression spikes after uploading, but almost a 0% click-through rate. It's not because my thumbnails are terrible, which if you look at the overall CTR data you might think, because after the first couple days of the video being live, YouTube attempts to find a better audience for it, and as you can see, CTR starts to creep up. So how do you fix this? At this point in time, you have 2 options. Option 1 is as Bruce Lee said. Be like water and adapt to your environment. Pivot your videos to be along the themes and style of the successful suggested videos, promoting your videos and getting good data. This will push you towards rapid growth as you'll be hitting the right audience with the right content quickly. This is what I did with one of my channels, Chenemy, moving from haiku content to My Hero Academia, since the data was way better on the latter. The channel then grew very quickly because there were better metrics on new videos. Option 2 is what I'm doing on my personal channel. You might be wondering why I posted an off-topic video given I knew what I just described might happen. Well, that thought piece video was a calculated risk to try and catch a broad audience before narrowing the scope of the channel in future videos. Which is focused on YouTube growth strategies and entrepreneurship. I am now privating that video to reduce the impact of what suggested videos I use on my future uploads. This route is slower and more painful than pivoting to that style of content because it will take time for YouTube to relearn what my channel is about and find the right audience to start pushing my videos to. This is the route you should take if you're strongly opposed to pivoting content style, and it means you have to be very intentional about what you say in each future video, which leads me to my second reason that your channel might not be growing: poor audio SEO. In the old days of YouTube, they cared about titles, descriptions, and tags to rank videos in YouTube search and categorize them, but that's outdated. Today, YouTube knows that YouTubers are trying to trick the algorithm by spamming whatever keywords they think will rank them high in search and get them a higher RPM. So YouTube has pivoted to a different strategy with the help of AI. YouTube now runs semantic or lexicon analysis on your video's voiceover. That's nerd speak for it listens to the important words that you say and categorizes what your video is about based on that. It then groups that video with other videos on YouTube which have similar keywords spoken throughout the video, and recommends it to the viewers who watch those videos. As a side note, this works for nonverbal sounds as well. Here's an example from one of my comedy music channels. The first thing that YouTube understood when I uploaded the video is that there's instruments in it, so all of the recommendations in my trends section of the YouTube studio shows music tutorials, songs, and countdowns and things like that. But YouTube has a hard time figuring out the full nuance of the songs and doesn't understand the cultural undertone quickly, which is that these music videos are meme and comedy content, not technical instrument videos. That takes time and trial and error, so if you're uploading either music content or any content that is vague in its description auditorily speaking, your channel will take time to grow and likely will not see high impressions until YouTube pinpoints your audience based off of good viewer data. Anyway, these audio clues seem to have a slight bias towards the beginning of the video. This audio SEO effect is amplified when you use keywords which are distinctly outside of the niche of the videos you're making. For example, on this video, which is about the life of an American gamer, the voiceover said the word of a certain country 3 times, which I'm actively avoiding saying now in this video because using that name so often confused the algorithm into thinking my video was about that country's demographic, which it wasn't. So the solution here is easy. When you're writing your script, you should manually review it for any repeated words that are outside of the YouTube niche you are posting videos in, and where it makes sense, replace them with a neutral word. A neutral word is one that doesn't direct the YouTube algorithm in any particular direction. Typically, these are pronouns and prepositions, which are used to connect words with real meaning like nouns, which describe the actual thing that you're talking about. Now, I'm not saying that that means you need to militantly avoid using certain words to not confuse the YouTube algorithm, but you should have an awareness of this and try to insert keywords for your niche where possible into your script. The third mistake is a lack of or a poor use of call to action. When you deliver your call to action in a video, you firstly want to position it somewhere where it's natural in the video so it doesn't disrupt the flow. You should also position it later in the video because the people who are likely to follow your call to action are those who make it past the halfway point since they're more invested in you and more likely grateful for your content. Secondly, your CTA needs to be on topic for the video's contents. I would not say to you in this video about YouTube strategy, please go buy my digital posters on Etsy, because it's not relevant, it's really jarring. Instead, you want to direct your audience to something on topic and give them a reason to do what you're saying, because the literature as discussed in Dr. Cialdini's book, The Psychology of Persuasion, suggests purely saying the word because after making a request makes someone 50% more likely to comply. For example, if you want me to help you on your YouTube journey, go to askarcherwarren.com and watch a testimonial by my consulting client Simon, who has over 5 million subscribers, and then consider joining my YouTube Strategy School Squad. Or if that's too much for you, then please subscribe so you don't miss out on weekly YouTube strategy guides. Now that's a lot to ask of someone, perhaps even too much, but at least I gave you both motivation, a reason to do so, and it's very relevant to why you're watching this video and the video's topic, which is growing YouTube channels. The second tactic that I actually used in that call to action is a compromise. Compromises play on people's social conscience, because if you're asked to do someone a favor and you say no, even if you're well within your right to say no and it makes logical sense to say no, you can't help but feel a little bit rude and like you owe that person. So if that person comes back to you with a much smaller request off the back of a rejected larger request, in this case subscribing to my channel for free instead of paying to join the school squad, you're significantly more likely to say yes. Putting this into context of staying on YouTube though, CTAs are your chance to boost engagement. Take the opportunity to ask your audience a question in the comments, which will encourage them to comment more, and that boosts your engagement metrics. Then, like I do on all of my videos, actually respond to those comments with a meaningful reply. Don't just say thanks. Deliver more value, because not only will that viewer appreciate it, it's free promotion because other viewers will scroll through the comment section and look at the replies. Humans are creatures of habit and familiarity. Our brains form schemas in long-term memory, which is a mental framework of how you view a person, a thing, or an experience. We use these to simplify our environment so we don't become overwhelmed. As a byproduct of this, we're able to very quickly ignore that which does not fit into our schema when we're searching for something. For example, if you're in a car park looking for your light blue Ford Focus, you will ignore non-blue cars, you will ignore things that are not cars, and the only thing that you'll really notice is light blue cars similar to your Ford. In a YouTube context, viewers have habitual consumption patterns. They have a clear preference for videos of a certain length and that cover certain themes. So if they're a podcast consumer, their schema drives them to look for content matching it, so they'll likely ignore any video that has a short timestamp and not notice that they're actually doing this. This means your best bet for getting attention is matching the video length preference of your intended audience and doing so in every video, because it's unlikely the viewer is going to break their pattern. I've called this audience contamination, because if you post videos of varied lengths, you are overlapping these audiences and going to damage your viewer analytics. There is an exception to this though. Occasionally, extreme things happen in our environment that are really jarring because they're in opposition of our expectations. This is where another cognitive process comes in called prototypes. These are exactly what they sound like. We humans have generic ideas of a concept for a thing. For example, if I say chair, you instantly think 4 legs, seat, and back support. This helps you interpret the world easily because you don't have to conceptualize the entirety of something's existence to understand it and interact with it. Imagine if you had to reanalyze what a phone is every time you used it. You'd lose so much time. Anyway, this is important to YouTubers for 2 reasons. Firstly, on occasion, you can use this to surprise your audience with an extremely different video length to normal. This will stand out to viewers because they have a prototype formed of how your videos will appear in their feed. If you keep your titling and thumbnail similar, they'll still recognize that it's you, but be shocked by the timestamp and forced to click out of curiosity. That's how you can benefit from this. But where it goes wrong is the 5th mistake that you're likely making. Because your viewer has prototypes, if you regularly change your video structure and visual style, contrary to popular belief, you actually fatigue your audience. Now don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you're boring your audience. I mean you are literally overstimulating them by breaking down their internal view of how your videos are formed. Now they have to throw away all of their assumptions which were making watching your videos easy for them. I hope you found this helpful. Why not watch this video next?